Sup heathens, I'm Happy Viking and welcome once again to another episode of my motion picture review show, where I take a look at films. What the fuck? Well, this is bullshit of the highest order. Now I have to film the whole review all over again because my footage is just static. Static, clipping, and threatening messages directed specifically at me. We're coming to get you, Viking. All of us. We will be there soon. I wonder if this is covered in troubleshooting. First the camera, now the lights. Technology just isn't my friend today. Sup heathens? Halloween is here, and that means I gotta review something spooky to appease the creepy spirits of the underworld. And, of course, what's more terrifying and frightening than the world of independent filmmaking? Ooh! Ah yes, indie films, the proving grounds of cinema, where legends are forged and fools are broken. And today, I'm doing something a little close to home in the Great White North. A small mob of movie makers from Windsor, Ontario who dream big and deliver as best they can, called Vince Emerson Media, and their movie, Windigo. To those of you who've heard of it, you probably know that Windigo is notable for being the first full-length motion picture about the slim, grim, gaunt, and ghoulish king of the uncanny valley himself, the goddamn Slender Man. Ha, I love this lanky motherfucker. Ol' Slendy is an internet urban legend, and he is the classiest gent to ever make people soil their trousers with a combination of creepy tentacles, mindfuck-uppery, and chic Armani suits. Now, about the film itself, well, remember, everything I say with love. I say these things because I believe deeply in the power of cinema, in the beauty of visual media, and in the potential of independent productions. That said, Windigo was one of the most poorly done horror movies I've ever seen in my whole life. I watched the trailer for it, and they did a good job of making it look compelling. People disappearing in the woods, timid cameramen being stalked, Slendy's signature film distortion. It looked like a solid production. However, watching the thing proved to be an ordeal, what with its ponderous pacing and lack of clear explanation for most of the crazy shit that ensues. Now, this is an indie movie. It was made on a minuscule budget with amateur actors and limited resources, so I can't really be too harsh on those fronts. You have to work with what you got. It's just part of being a filmmaker, especially a new filmmaker. But the thing is, every other popular Slender Man video series was made under the exact same circumstances. Marble Hornets, Everyman Hybrid, Tribe 12, Dark Harvest, all of those blogs were made by amateur actors and filmmakers with little cash on hand, but it didn't stop any of them from being popular, intricately plotted, or pants-wettingly scary. So it makes it all the more baffling how Windigo can fall on its face with such a level playing field. And I have taken it upon myself as both a fan of film and a fan of the gangly ghoul to investigate what went wrong. So, here is Windigo. Okay, judging by the production logo, these are the same guys who made all those cheesy educational videos from the early 90s that you'd watch in science class. I suddenly have the burning urge to watch reruns of Bill Nye the Science Guy. Anyway, the movie starts with white text on a black screen describing the aftermath of a student film that ended disastrously due to supernatural happenings. Now, this set off alarms in my head immediately because this is pretty much the same as the opening to any episode of the quintessential Slender series, Marble Hornets. Now, every Slender Man video log series owes at least something to Marble Hornets, being the series that established some of the more popular parts of the mythos. You know, like the brainwashed flunkies, the film distortion, and the operator symbol. But this opening is almost identical. It's even the same damn font. The only real difference here is that the text is actually being narrated over by a police officer.
The events are explicit and may be disturbing to some viewers.
Now, as was explained by the text, this movie is about a student film. Windigo is about a group of film students who go out into the boonies to shoot a documentary on deforestation as part of a school assignment. Specifically, they head to the tiny town of Bonneville, where the cameraman's uncle lives. Speaking of, I figure I should introduce some of the more important characters. Firstly, there's the cameraman himself, Brandon, whose shaky handycam viewpoint shall be ours for the next hour and a half. Then there's his uncle Steve, who's basically a huge redneck. Yeah, those two look related, don't they? Then there's the director, Reese, his girlfriend Cassie, and their supervisor, Quago. The first night they spend there in Bonneville, Quago tells the story of the Windigo.
My grandfather told me that they're called Windigos. Anything that eats flesh, they turn into something that's not human. They want more of it. They crave it. And eventually, they rip you apart, eat you, and they can turn you into one of them. It's a Native American zombie, pretty much. Except Tarantino's probably better.
Yeah, I get the impression that, like a lot of indie movies, Windigo's production was pretty loose. You know, there are people talking over each other, razzing and poking fun at each other, and there's clearly a lot of improvising going on. It's good to know that they're enjoying themselves, but it might not be good for the tone of the movie when you end up talking over someone who's delivering a pretty vital monologue about the nature of the movie's villain. It's also not good for the tone when you decide to crack jokes and prank each other not 1 minute after Quago talks about how his parents were killed.
As you guys know, my father and mother died when we were out camping. I heard screaming, and I heard shouting.
That was your mother and your father going at it.
Oh, Steve, you're such a charmer. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about one other character, Alain Papignon. Basically, his role is to...
I only paid $6,000 for that shed.
Holy shit, that guy is the thickest Quebecois accent I've ever heard in my life. And I'm pretty sure he's not playing it up either, that's his actual natural speaking voice. Oh my god, take a look at this, Captain Canada over here, holy crap. In all seriousness though, if only for his accent and overall pleasant demeanor, I think Alain is one of the more memorable parts of the movie. He just looks like a lovable goof, you know, like a beloved uncle or something. I don't know. Unfortunately, his role in the movie is pretty small. Alain repeatedly hassles Steve because he paid him to build a shed and the jackass still hasn't got around to it.
Weirdo. Got your money, Clinton. No refunds, buddy.
This incredible shed subplot is basically the closest thing the movie has to a conflict in the beginning, because most of the first act is just watching the students film the documentary. Yep, exciting. To the movie's credit, it establishes right away how the finished film is probably going to turn out.
So Steve, how has deforestation affected your line of work?
What the fuck is deforestation?
The actors in this movie suck. No, sorry, not the actors in Windigo. For an indie movie, you know, they're okay. Nothing special, but they do the job. I'm talking about the actors in-universe that the film crew hired to host the documentary. The crew hired 2 actors, Dean and Selena, and pretty much the instant you meet them, you know that you're gonna hate them.
Do you guys expect me to sleep on the floor?
They're both whiny, insufferable, and astonishingly inept at their jobs.
Hard Pines, deforestation in North America, take 1. And action.
Are we rolling?
What do you think action means, Dean?
Okay, I don't do film.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a college student who has spent thousands of dollars to learn the art of acting because of my passion for the craft. Yet I have never seen a film in my fucking life. Seriously, how do you not know what action means? If that's really the case, then even the Amish know more about film production than you do. And why would you sign on in the first place if you knew jack shit about film? Ah, fucking Dean.
Fucking asshole, I'm gonna kill you.
I hate this douchebag. Look at this guy with his stupid shirt, stupid sunglasses. I hate those kinds of sunglasses. It's pretty much an ineffable law of the universe that anyone who wears sunglasses with white rims is a huge fucking douchebag-admirable human being. Woo! Dodged a bullet there. Woo-hoo-hoo! Man, I am so fired. Wait a minute. I just realized something. Where the fuck is Slender Man? Okay, I understand the idea of building up the suspense, but Slender Man takes fucking forever to show up in Windigo. I'm fairly certain the idea that the filmmakers were going for was to make everything look like business as usual, and then later on pull a bait and switch and throw some unexpected tentacles into the mix, kind of like what Everyman Hybrid did. But the thing about Everyman Hybrid, even when it was still posing as a health and fitness show, they let you know within the first 5 minutes that crazy shit was afoot. In the first episode, there's a creepy out-of-place nature shot with distorted audio, and in the fourth episode, you can actually make out the Slender Man chilling outside the patio door. But with Windigo, if no one told you it was a Slender Man movie, this whole thing would just look like actual behind-the-scenes raw footage of some amateur student documentary. Dude, could you look up? I kind of want to see people's faces, not their legs. Could you? I can't see shit! Anyways, there's the occasional audio-visual twinge, but you probably still wouldn't be tipped off that Slender Man is even involved until Selena disappears into the woods. Ah yes, this scene. This is the moment where shit finally starts becoming progressively more real. Selena crawls out of her tent in the middle of the night and wanders listlessly into the woods, seemingly led along by some hypnotic supernatural force. Looks like Slender Man is up to his old tricks again. This happens 48 minutes into the movie. I'm dead serious. The event that kicks off the plot and sets up an actual conflict for the movie doesn't happen until halfway through it. Windigo has the most abysmal pacing I have ever seen. The time between Quago telling the Windigo story and the actress disappearing is filler. 30 minutes of filler, where we are treated to the lifestyles of the bitch and lamest. For a half hour, we have to deal with characters whose brief moments of personality are marked with either stupidity or douchebaggery, and we have to watch them film a documentary that is presented in-universe as destined for failure.
Now, Reese, why is that in my face?
Look, I'm trying to get...
Yeah, that sounds fucking riveting, doesn't it? You could argue that they are building tension, but no, they weren't. Remember when I said it takes forever for Slender Man to show up? He doesn't make an appearance till the 40-minute mark. And that's not called building tension. That's called wasting my fucking time.
Hey, Toad. Hey.
Why was it so important to spend half a fucking hour watching these people film their stupid documentary? It was completely fucking pointless. God damn! Excuse me. Okay, what do you want? I'll let you know you're interrupting my review, so make it... Oh, holy crap! It's the goddamn statue of Link from that haunted Majora's Mask cartridge. Fuck me, you're creepy looking. Oh, and what's over there? The goddamn Slender Man just standing by my tree. Just chilling, like a villain, being a creeper. What other horrible monstrosity is gonna show up on my property? Fuck it, I'm going inside. Okay, so the actress chick disappears into the woods, and the remaining film crew organizes a search party to go look for her. I will say that the pace does pick up considerably, but from then on, the movie starts making progressively less sense. After a deep trek into the wilderness looking for Selena, Brandon finds his uncle and sees him destroying videotapes and burying the remains. They never explain whose tapes they are or what's on them, but my best guess is that they contain footage of the Slender Man and that Steve is destroying them to keep it under wraps.
Told me. Putting an end to this shit right now. You're not going to tell anybody, are you? If you are, let me know. I'll put the shovel right through you.
Upon realizing that Brandon is filming the whole thing, he goes apeshit and runs after him. Brandon loses him, but then he comes face to face with a much more dangerous adversary. Having survived that Slender attack with not but a few scratches and a torn shirt, Brandon finds his way back to town that night, and honestly, I'm not sure what's going on because I can't see shit. All I see is Brandon running from people who I guess are looking for him. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. It's kind of a spoiler, but it helps make a little bit of sense of the sequence. Okay, some of the dudes chasing Brandon right now are actually Windigos. If I go frame by frame, you can see that these people have the same blank face that the Slender Man has. I watched this movie twice through, and I missed this detail both times because I couldn't see shit. Apparently, Slender Man can turn people into Windigos, even though the whole thing about Windigos is that you become one by eating human flesh. So, yeah, Slender Man has pretty much nothing in common with the Windigo described by Quago. But the guy with the lantern isn't a Windigo. He still has a face. So, is that guy like an agent for the Windigo? Is Steve one too? I don't actually know if they are, because when they do capture Brandon, they don't take him back to Steve or anything. They just rough him up a bit and leave him on the side of a lake. Okay, and you don't take his camera or his tapes or anything, you just... okay, whatever.
What the fuck?
Since Brandon is going to be wandering through the brush doing nothing for quite a bit, I think I'll take this time to elaborate on some of my criticism. Now, mainly, the biggest mistake that the folks at Vince Emerson made was biting off far more than they could chew. Now, this is their first feature film, and that alone comes with its own unique challenges. However, they chose to tackle a style of film that is incredibly difficult to pull off. They basically got cocky with a crayon and decided to draw the Sistine Chapel. Allow me to explain. First of all, they made a horror movie. Horror movies are actually probably the most difficult genre to do well because it is well and truly a test of your filmmaking skills. You need deadly precise editing, camera placement, and sound design to evoke a proper sense of terror that actually frightens people but doesn't alienate them or stop them from watching. It's a delicate balancing act, and Windigo wibbles, wobbles, and falls straight down. Also, because of this, Windigo falls into a lot of the same holes and cliches that other novice horror movies fall into. Like having jerky characters, for instance.
As the star of this movie, I expect at least more than a six-man tent that looks like a fucking recycled kite.
It's such a cliche.
Another thing is having the movie be a found footage movie. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone has heard stories of people feeling nauseous in the movie theaters watching Cloverfield, and that's because shooting a movie on a handycam is hard as hell. Firstly, from a director's standpoint, the way these movies are typically shot means that a lot of scenes have to be done on one long take, which can be time-consuming and difficult for amateur actors. And, of course, from the audience's standpoint, it's really easy for the thing to be a shaky mess that's hard to make out. And Windigo gets kicked in the ass from that too. It doesn't help that the cameraman isn't paying attention to where the camera is pointed most of the time. Like I've said before, I often can't see shit, because for example, most of the time, the camera is pointed at the ground. How can the audience get a grasp for the scene and what's happening in it if we can't see it? I don't care if that's how you would naturally hold a camera whilst trekking through the brush. It still doesn't make for a satisfying shot.
We can fix it in post, come on.
So, in summary, this movie fails because the people making it simply weren't experienced enough to do it well. They bit off far more than they could chew. I mentioned in the beginning that the production looked pretty lax, which is not the kind of attitude you want when making a found footage psychological horror movie. That kind of movie needs a seriously fastidious hard ass at the reins, someone with a ridiculous eye for detail, like the guys from Marble Hornets and Everyman Hybrid. The amount of detail that goes into the Marble Hornets videos and the To the Ark Reply videos is staggering. And, as for Everyman Hybrid, well, they have a wiki. And more than that, they absolutely need a wiki. Windigo simply doesn't have that kind of depth and dedication, which it really needed because it's a big part of what makes psychological horror movies, and especially Slender Man series, so compelling. But I suppose that's just part of the wonder of filmmaking. You take a chance and you plunge into a new, unexplored genre and you hope to have some fun with it and make something really cool. Sadly, of course, there's never any guarantee as to how well the finished product is going to turn out, and sometimes you crash and burn. What the hell are they doing out there? Oh, frig, they're all out there. Ben, Slendy, SCP-173, The Rake, Jeff the Killer. It's just a big old get-together of terrifying motherfuckers. I need to go blockade that door. So Brandon finds Selena's body, and he is found soon after by Steve. It turns out that Steve killed Selena because she knew too much about the Slender Man, and he intends to kill Brandon for the same reason. Yeah, where are you? I can't see you past that grass. I especially can't see the camera that you're clearly holding up out in the open. Oh, and by the way, nice job hiding the body, Steve. You left it out in the open 50 feet from the road. No wonder he never got around to working on that shed. Steve's too fucking lazy to even dispose of a corpse. Oh, and speaking of that shed, a Deus Ex Machina happens when Brandon is bailed out by motherfucking Captain Canada. It's a shame we never actually see what he does to Steve because I can't see shit! How Elaine found him, I have no idea. In fact, how did Steve find him? He had no idea where Brandon was. All he did was show up randomly at the scene of the crime he committed with the murder weapon and failed to stop a witness from filming him confess to the killing. God damn it, Steve, you are a terrible murderer. See, me? I'm a pro. I've been doing it for centuries. I believe my first murder was at the ripe old age of 3. Motherfucker stole my building blocks. Hey, come on, I'm a Viking. It's what I do. Someone's scraping on my window with a knife.
Go to sleep.
Yeah, fuck you too, Jeff. Anyways. The weird thing about this movie is that the speed at which the film progresses is inversely proportional to how much sense it makes. The faster it gets, the less lucid it gets, and vice versa. The vice versa is best exemplified in the beginning, where it's slow as death, but it makes sense. The other end of the spectrum is best exemplified in the ending, which is a clusterfuck proceeding at the speed of light. Calling it a clusterfuck barely begins to describe it. It is the inception of clusterfucks. There are clusterfucks within other clusterfucks. You know, like one of those Russian nesting dolls? Yeah, picture one of those made of big, thick, honeyed clusters of fuck. First of all, Elaine takes Brandon to his place and ties him up in a chair and starts interrogating him about the weird shit that's going on and outright threatens to torture him with power tools over it.
We do this the hard way or the easy way. I'd rather do it the easy way. Just answer a few questions, I let you go.
See, this is weird as hell because, well, it's Elaine Papigno! He's supposed to be a pleasant guy who's just annoyed by Steve not building his damn shed. But now he's like the French-Canadian version of Liam Neeson from fucking Taken. It's even weirder because Brandon refuses to give him any answers, even though he knows full well that Windigos are out and about and that Steve and his goons are trying to cover it up. What reason does Brandon have not to tell Elaine about this? And why is he willing to get tortured over it?
I don't have anything to tell you.
You want me to do this the hard way? Yeah, I'm gonna do it the hard way. I'll be back for you.
So Elaine gets fed up and heads upstairs to fetch his implements of torture when suddenly he's lured into the bathroom and killed by the Slender Man. Why he had to do it in the bathroom, I have no idea. And then, suddenly, the film crew breaks into Elaine's house to rescue Brandon, and the movie completely loses its shit. How they knew Brandon was at Elaine's house, I have no idea. And then they are attacked by the Slender Man. Where the hell did they get guns? But then suddenly the Slender Man appears in front of them and they shoot and apparently team kill Dean somehow. Yay? Then Brandon goes crazy, starts picking up tapes off the ground, and then Elaine turns into a Windigo, then Quago drives a car into the Slender Man, and you see him burning and dying, and then Brandon starts attacking Reese for some reason, then they fight, and then it's over.
Now we switch this shit off.
What the fuck just happened? It's bad enough that I have no idea what's happening or what the film crew was up to while Brandon was lost in the woods, but the bad camera absolutely kills it. You can't have an action scene like this when the cameraman keeps thrashing the camera everywhere. And I have no idea what's going on. Where did all the Windigos come from? Why are they attacking now? What happened to everyone else? Why do these Windigos shamble like fucking zombies when the Slender Man has tentacles, teleportation, and magic powers? And what's the deal with those tapes? I can guess what's on them, but I still have no idea why Steve was so intent on destroying them, or why Brandon is so intent on picking them up after he went nuts. What the hell is he going to do with them? Send him into Sundance? Apparently the reason Brandon went nuts is because he was turning into a Windigo. I don't know why it was taking so long, seeing as how Elaine turned in a matter of minutes, and Brandon was attacked hours ago. I know Brandon is turning into a Windigo because after the clusterfuck and a brief bit of narration going over the aftermath of the clusterfuck, there's a scene where Brandon is captured and interrogated by the police.
We're going to need you to answer some questions. You will never be free unless you cooperate. What is your name?
You know our name. Just ask your questions.
Yes, please, ask your questions, because I want answers too. There's so much I don't understand, like what was up with the... Oh god, what the fuck? Fuck, what the fuck? What smells like pee? I will admit that I think this bit in the interrogation room was pretty well done, probably because it's one of the only static, non-shaky cam shots in the movie, so they had time to set up the scene exactly as they wanted it, and due to the video effects, they could get away with secretly splicing together other takes. So, yeah, it's good. I'm still horribly confused, but at this point, I'm done complaining about it. I'm just happy that I can finally, at long last, see shit. And after that, the text comes back and tells us that Brandon killed the interrogator and escaped the station, presumably retreating back into the godless woods from whence his slender kin came. The end. Oh, thank God it's over. What the fuck? Are you serious, guy? You know all that atmosphere you just built up in the interrogation room scene? Fucking gone now. That's a seriously noobish mistake to put a song like this at the end of a horror film that's supposed to be presented as police case footage. It doesn't even matter if the song is any good. This one is. I actually quite like it. But if you put a light-hearted, tongue-in-cheek little ditty at the end of a psychological horror film with a frantic, crazy ending, it's gonna fuck with the tone, which is kind of important in a horror movie. It's like, could you imagine if the Blair Witch Project ended that way? These days see what I mean? It's kind of a what the fuck moment, isn't it? Windigo is, to put it simply, inept. The script is full of holes, the pacing is god-awful, and it's miserably shot and edited. There are so many things in this movie that aren't properly explained, established, or shown, and the time that could be used to clarify plot points, build tension, or foreshadow upcoming events is spent watching people fuck off in the woods and do nothing. Removing the filler from this movie would cut the running time in half. These guys simply weren't up to the task of making a movie like this. But, look, I'll be nice. I can respect any attempt at tackling something huge and unknown, so I'll give them that. And also, I've seen a couple of their other videos on YouTube, and let me tell you, they are 1,000 times better than Windigo. The editing is better, the pacing is better, the writing is better, everything's better. Comedy is much more their element, methinks. And also, even though it definitely didn't belong in the end credits of Windigo, check out their music. It's pretty good. You can find all their stuff on the Vince Emerson Media YouTube channel or on their website. I'm Happy Viking, and you've just been served your recommended daily dose of... Oh fuck, they've gotten through! No, they're all around! Zeppelin rule!
Gray sky, hello blue. There's nothing can hold me when I hold you. Feels so right, it can't be wrong. Rocking and rolling all week long.
What the... What the hell happened last night? Oh, that's what happened. Oh, my head. What time is it? It's 4:44. November 5th? Oh, fuck.
There's something in the woods, I think we better